Greetings! We're revisiting Chaosium basic role-playing. And this is going to be a short video. I just want to go over a few things because people had questions about dex rank and things like that. So, let's do that. Let's go down here to where it starts explaining stuff. Now, this is a percentile game. Okay. There's something right here in the beginning about... There it is. It's about initiative, okay? So, dex rank. Based on the dexterity characteristic, this determines when your character can usually act during a combat round. Characters with higher dex will generally act for characters with lower dex. Page 123. So let's check out page 123. Okay. As described in time scales, page 114. Combat round measures time in a combat or action situation. A basic combat round is 12 seconds long, and in it, your character can perform actions and react to other actions in an order usually determined by their dex characteristic. Higher dex characters act before characters with lower dex. As with skills, actions in combat are determined by rolling die 100 to determine the success or failure of attacks, defenses, and other actions. So you just go in order from highest dex to lowest. If dex scores are tied, you roll die 10. Okay? So we're going to go down here. Here's your polyhedral dice there. If you've never seen polyhedral dice. Power levels. One of the things that can get confusing about Chaosium Basic is it's designed for any genre. So you have all these options, which the game master has to decide upon about how you're going to do things. So power levels. Normal, heroic, epic, superhuman. So in a fantasy type game, one would go from probably normal to heroic, and maybe epic superhuman, as to where in a heroic game, you would start, like a superhero game, you would start at heroic, or maybe even superhuman. Okay. So the characteristics are the usuals: strength, constitution, dexterity, charisma, and intelligence, and they added in power and size. You roll 3 dice 6 for all these characteristics. For int and size, 2 dice 6 plus 6. Okay? So you also have the options of creating a point pool and buying your stats. And if you're using more powerful characters, like maybe superhero kind of characters, mutants, you could buy your stats. You might have more points to buy your stats, and you're going to buy your powers as well. And then you have optional characteristics such as education. Maybe you're going to roll stats differently for a non-human character, like they do in RuneQuest, which is Chaosium's fantasy game. Okay, powers. So you spend money, spend your points to buy powers, or maybe there's a sign, and then to use the power, you spend points, power points. Age, and then characteristic rolls. So you take your characteristic rolls times 5 to get the basic percentage for basic skills that everyone has that are based on stats. And maybe you can increase that through training and such if it applies to your character. Like stealth would be based on dex, but you could increase it if you're playing like a thief type character. So See, this is all optional stuff. You don't have to use it. Skill bonuses, hit points per location, which is part of the RuneQuest system. Fatigue points, which is good if you're like doing hex crawling, having a fatigue level sanity. If you're playing like a Cthulhu kind of game where they have these nightmare creatures, you might go crazy. It could even work for a dungeon crawler. Maybe there's some scary monsters, and you want to try and retain your sanity. Okay. Then we have professions and skills, which once again, this is a wide variety of things determined by the game master. He's got to decide what the genre is, what the realm's going to be, and what kind of characters you're playing. Uh, Here's the suggestions: normal, heroic, epic, superhuman, and then you spend, however many points to professional skills. You get 250, 325, 400, 500. Here's a character sheet, and see this has your basic stats here and your roll based on the stat. Stamina based on constitution. Damage, which is based on strength and size. There's a table for that. Ideal roll, intelligence. All the usual suspects. This is an optional skill: education and knowledge. Okay, so basic skills. Okay, so here's a damage modifier table. But then you could give percentage, once again, optional. You could give a percentage. Your dodge is dex times 2. But you could give a percentage based on the stat. So if your dex is, 15 or 16, you should get a plus 5. If it was 17, you get a plus 10. If it's 18, you get a plus 15%. So what you're doing with Chaosium basic role playing is it's giving you like a platform to create your own game. And I was talking about in the other video I did on it, I was talking about how to convert to Kernethelus. And maybe I didn't do the best job of that. But that's what you're doing. You're taking this, you're making your own system, or you're trying to convert it to another system that you want to play with. Okay. So there was something I wanted to look at: skills. Defining skills. All right. So, using your skills, you roll the die 100. You want to beat that score or less, but here we go. The difficulty of the task or other circumstantial modifiers. So there can be no required. There can be easy. The skill is doubled. Average, no modification. And that's usually what you're doing. Like average is like for combat or under stress. Difficulty, the skill is halved, or you can just make it at a minus something. You don't want to make it that bad. So difficulty could be at a minus, or you could just have the skill. And you can have varying degrees of difficulty, you see. but it doesn't really give you a chart. You got to decide yourself what it's going to be. You got to go through these rules, decide what's going to happen, kind of make your own game up. Okay, so acting without skill. If there's a skill category bonus based on a stat, then you roll that. Like I was talking about before, if it's a skill, you're going to increase it. Or wild chance. Maybe there's no chance, but you can do it on a 1%. Or like when I play percentile games, you can do it on a 0-1, a 00, 32, or 64. 2 extremes, 2 mid-range, and then 99 is always a fumble. It's called a fantastic roll. So here's our skills, just like on the character sheet. So you know what your base things for them are. So anyway, like I said, this is going to be a short video. I just wanted to clear that out because I think some people were confused about it. That's it for the basics of it. You're going to create your own thing, and they just give you the guidelines to do it. So sit down and decide, is it going to be fantasy? Is it going to be modern day? Is it going to be set in 1920? And, what kind of background is it? Is it going to be 1920 gangbusters? Or is it going to be a kind of 1920s where there's superheroes as well? Have aliens invaded or they're mutants? What's going on? So I'm going to be coming to you with a short video on Symbaroum. We're going to set up for this module I want to play. And we're going to talk about the background, and then we're going to start playing some Symbaroum. And we're also going to be talking about One Ring. Please give us a like and subscribe. See you next time.